buy yourself a gun. What? Gun? What? Like a handgun for personal protection. If somebody tries to mug you. What? What if your government tries to throw you in a can? What? You're gonna want a shotgun. Oh. What? An automatic rifle and a lot of ammo. Gun?
We're all set to riot! Buy a gun! Before you lose your Second Amendment! Buy a gun! They'll burn you out like a Waco! They'll stick your ass in a camp! Jack-footed cops in riot gear gonna kick your ass and laugh! The revolution is on its way! Better lock and load your AK! Buy a gun! 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 Before you wish you bought a gun! Buy 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 a gun! Before you wish you bought a gun! We're all set to riot! Buy a gun! Before you lose your Second Amendment! Buy a gun! They gave your money to the banksters! They stole your pension fund! It's time that we took to the streets! It's time we had our turn! A revolution is on its way! And the founding fathers would say, buy a gun! 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 Before you wish you bought a gun! Buy 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 a gun! Before you wish you bought a gun! Revolution's not clean and neat, you gotta riot in the streets. Revolution's not clean and neat, you gotta drag them through the streets.
It's Tuesday. It's cold, and this is Primer Time. My name is Michael.
And I'm Nick. Michael, what is going on?
I am trying to figure out how to convert my chair into a propane heater. How are you?
I'm already ahead of you because the water was solid today.
I've seen that in the freezer.
Yes, but I couldn't put it into
scientific.
I couldn't put it into anything that was alcoholic and use it for that type of endeavor.
I woke up and I had broken pipes in my yard, and it's not because they were frozen. It's because we've had so much rain that my ground shifted. So I had to bail in the freezing weather this morning.
Yeah, that's not cool. I got set up to leave my house to go to work, and as soon as I pulled out of my driveway, I made a right-hand turn, and I felt the tires get squishy. And sure enough, the little, hey, you're low on air light popped on. So somehow there's a thief that comes in the middle of the night when it's really cold and steals all the air out of your tires.
You know, you should really invest in those $17 per tire nitrogen fills.
Yeah, the ones that you can get with the integrated pressure system.
Well, integrated windshield wiper light fluid.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. This is the coldest I've been in quite a while, and we had a pretty good wind chill to go with it. So I was not happy because I still haven't found my gloves yet.
This is truly a result of global warming. You'll have to admit it.
Well, certainly, and God forbid that you're not thinking about the children if you deny it.
Denial is a problem in the United States.
It is. It is. I tell you, you know what's even worse of a denial is accepting the fact that you're just going to have to start buying more ammo. That's worse than denial.
I'll tell you what. The worst part is paying for it, and it can be some money. The only precious metals are not gold and silver. You have to include lead, brass,
tungsten.
Copper, tungsten if it's available in your locale. Don't underestimate the value of blued steel or porkerized steel. And some
walnut
of the most,
walnut and birch.
Walnut and birch also count as precious metals in this situation. So
they do.
And for all you new kids, yes, you can use polymer in this situation as well.
So, Michael, have you had a chance to do anything in terms of the shooting sports?
I'll tell you what. Let me ask you first, because I hit a couple of gun shows this weekend. I hit two different ones, and it was there was something to talk about. So, how are you doing? Did
I'm
you
doing.
did you get a chance to go out and shoot?
I haven't had a chance to go out and shoot, but what I have had a chance to do is talk to a couple guys about possibly making some face-to-face trades on some firearms.
That's always nice. Face-to-face trades are good.
Yeah. So
You gonna be happy with them?
Well, I think so. There's a positive one, and there's a one that was not so positive. So I'll start off with the one that didn't come to fruition. On a local bulletin board site, we were just perusing it one day, and I came across a guy who was offering up a shotgun for $125, and made contact with him. Seemed to have a relatively good conversation, a couple times calling back and forth, and then came time to say, hey, you know what, I'm interested. When do you have time? And he came back with, well, I don't have time today, but if I can give you a call tomorrow, I'll go ahead and set something up. So I was like, okay, sure, great, no problem. So the next day came around, and I gave him a call about 1 p.m. Said, hey, I'd like to know if we're going to do this or not. I've got some stuff I've got to do, and I wanted to give you the courtesy. And his girl picked up the phone and said, yeah, he's out hunting. It was the first day of rifle season. And I was like, oh, okay, well, no, you can just have him give me a call back. That'd be great. Yeah, he'll call you tomorrow. So the next day came and went without a phone call, and I just considered that deal dead in the water.
That could very well be. Is this the same shotgun we were talking about last week?
Yeah, that's the one. So I was a decent guy. Didn't pester him during the week. When he called, I answered, and asked a question, I gave him straight answers. I don't want to deal with people that are inconsiderate to the point where they can't even call you back when they're trying to make a deal. So obviously this guy wasn't as serious about it as what it was.
That happens. Could also be that sometimes I've found that if you see something, it's almost worth the risk on just saying, yeah, I'll take it. It's sometimes when you try and juice somebody around a little bit, you end up not getting the deal. It works out better if you see it, and as we're experiencing right now, the price of the dollar is not commensurate with its value.
Oh, certainly. And we talked about that last week. Getting a reliable firing weapon for $100 or very close to that is relatively a good deal, especially in 12 gauge.
And I don't have to think if you come to your price point in your head as to what you're going to spend on, say you're looking for your pistol, and you've got your price point at $300 for your used pistol. I think you almost have to give yourself an extra 15%.
Oh yeah, certainly.
And you can go and if you're looking for, say, something like a shotgun or a rifle in the used market, if you swing it the other way, you can take 15% off as well. I think there's more values to be had in that market. I think pistols are premium.
Yeah, well, and when it comes down to it, I've got a couple 12 gauges, so I'm not heartbroken over the fact that it didn't happen. And then again, I was only going to be paying cash. I wasn't going to do anything in addition to it. With it falling through, I just wasn't upset about it.
Well, that's important to not fall in love with anything.
Yeah, certainly, and that's one of the mistakes that a lot of people make, especially when they're trying to go out and buy a firearm. They may have an emotional connection to that type of firearm or something. That maybe they were brought up shooting that, or maybe their granddad had one, and a little emotional attachment to it can really hurt you in the wallet.
If all you're concerned about is value. There are some people who are collectors, and there's certain items out there that they've got their eye on, and it must be damned. Must be damned who's having that.
And I'm not.
I'll tell you what, if I had the cash, I think I'd look for a Browning High Power. I believe they were made in 1973, and there was a run of 300 of them made, and they had the slot on the at the back strap for the wooden holster.
Right.
That was also stock. And they were marked for the Sultan of Muscat and Oman.
Ooh.
And he never got delivery of them. Something happened. I don't know. He got overthrown or deposed or whatever happens in places that have two names. And those pistols are quite rare. And if you find one, you're looking at probably about $25,000.
Ooh, nice.
And there's only like about 29 that are known to be in active collections right now. So somewhere there's somebody sitting on a crate of 100 of those things.
That's probably one of those importers who has it just tucked away.
Oh, yeah, it's sitting in the back of a Sarco lot or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I couldn't even imagine if he got to Sarco or say like Atlantic Firearms or somebody like that. Somebody who's a great big importer of curio and relic guys. What's that
Like
guy who's got
Mitchell's
all the Mausers?
Mitchell's Mausers.
Classic firearms. Did you imagine? Yeah, Mitchell's.
Yeah, Mitchell's Mausers, and then Classic does the Mosin guns.
Imagine if either one of those guys came across a crate of this.
Oh,
the prices, they'd be $100,000.
Yeah.
You know, we'll also consider land in Hawaii and brand new Corvettes and
Yeah.
whatever else costs $100,000 right now.
Shit, not houses, that's for sure. Well, anyhow, the second deal that I came across was looking online last night and saw a 1974 30-30 for sale. The guy wants $400 cash, and I just kind of looked at it and said, we got a bolt gun that I'm probably not going to be able to shoot right away. Looked it up, value on Gunbroker and a couple other sites, and it's right about that mark. It's a Savage, or it's a Stevens 200 made by Savage, and it's a synthetic stock. It's in .308 Winchester. It has a 4-round internal magazine. And I just kind of floated it out there to the guy, and I said, hey, I saw your ad. Are you interested in a bolt gun in .308 Winchester to trade straight across? And he came back with possibly. So, sent him a picture, and he got interested, and it sounds like we're working the deal in the next couple days.
Well, I hope that worked out well for you. A lever action 30-30 is kind of an icon.
Yeah, certainly. And the last two 30-30s that I had a chance to get, I am kicking myself in the ass every day that I didn't, because it would have been for 200 euros. I would have had two of them, and the one was the commemorative spike for Promontory Point, and then the other one was the Buffalo Bill 1976. Yeah,
those are probably $1,500 and $2,000 respectively.
Yeah, I would have made a big deal on those.
200 euros would have been about what, $300?
No, 200 euros probably about 350.
350.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should kick yourself a couple times for that. It happens.
Well, it's also a different thing trying to get it in from another country. So.
That's true.
So, but no, that's pretty much what I've had the opportunity to work on. My place of employment has bulletin board also, and I've seen a lot of firearms coming across in the last couple days. Everything from Mossberg MVP patrol gun, couple Marlin 22 mags. Couple guys are selling M&P shields and 9mm. Another guy selling some Chinese model 1911, and one other guy is
that Chinese 1911, that Norinco 1911 is a fine weapon.
Yeah.
That is a fine.
He wants a fine price for it as well. I believe he asked for $800.
That's insane, Nick. I remember when those things came out, they were $199.
Yeah, he wants a premium price.
They were $229. $229. That's what they were. $229.
Yeah, he wants $800, and he said it comes with 4 magazines. And I said, you're going to have that ad up there for a long time.
He might not. He might not. That's people like to take those and turn them into race guns. They're a faithful copy, and like I've already expressed my kind of like preference for some certain Chinese items in the firearms market, and I got no problem with them. I mean, people bought the hell out of them.
Well, and that's kind of the thing. That's the reason why I'm really interested in this 3030. Is number one, never owned a 3030. But for me, what I see on the shelf when I go to the big box stores in terms of looking at ammo, 3030 is always there, and it's not that expensive.
I agree with you. You can get a box of 3030 probably less than $20.
Oh, certainly. The last time I was there at Wally, I saw a box of what was it? It was Winchester white box 3030, and I think it was $12.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, $12 for 20 rounds, and they had the whole case was full of boxes. So just that little 30 slot was good. And then I don't think that I didn't remember if they had Hornady or anything like that, the Lever Revolution or anything else. But I got to think that if Winchester white box is on the shelf, that's fine. That's good enough for me.
Absolutely. Now, we were discussing the 3030 a little while ago, and looks like that round comes in a variety of bullet weights.
Right, yeah. And, from what I'm seeing, everything from 110 on up to 170 grains.
That's quite a range, giving you a bunch of options in what you want your final product downrange to be.
Yeah, certainly, and you're pushing a 30 caliber bullet, almost 2,500 feet per second in that 150, and I think you're maybe doing just a hair under 2,400 at the 170.
That's moving for a decent sized hunk of lead.
Oh yeah.
Even if you've got the 170 grain, I'm not sure what that would run at, but even if it's running at 1900, that's a pretty good size. That's a thumping right there.
Well, yeah, and I think back on that's the I would have to say that is probably the single most nostalgic type rifle when people think cowboy action. If they're not thinking about a revolver, they're thinking cowboy rifles. The idea of the Winchester or the Marlin 3030s, that's what people have in their head. And what a lot of people don't remember is that's a heck of a deer gun. It's I think the definition of a brush gun.
Oh, I would definitely say so. That cartridge has ballistics similar to the 7.62 by 39, but it is very good at defeating obstacles. It will punch through branches and leaves, not a problem.
Right, and that's one of those things that I think that out here where I'm at, we have in my area we're rolling hills, and we've got a lot of farmland, and there's not a whole lot of walking and stalking that hunters do, but there's a lot of hunting from stands, elevated stands, and that's something that you're not going to have a problem with.
And the other nice thing about the 3030 rifle is it's never been on a banned list.
Right. I don't think there's going to be...
It doesn't impart that fear.
Right. And I think that for a period of time...
It doesn't impart that fear that people black rifle.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah. So what I was going to say is that, folks aren't going to be as quick to buy out all the ammunition. People aren't necessarily going to think that this is something that's going to be banned by their legislatures or their elected representatives, and I think that heck for a couple of the different states that are prone to gun legislation, that's an iconic model of those factories. You think about Marlin, and I think Winchester. Those are all companies that started out in the Northeast, and
Well, Winchester doesn't actually make any lever action rifles anymore.
No, not anymore. But I'm saying originally when they were
right.
So
It is kind of a testament as to the situation that's facing us in the nation. I mean, we see that Washington passed a registration act, and I've seen reactions with glee that show that we're going to push for that in Nevada, and with Texas having a newly appointed Republican governor. Not that I'm super excited about him being a Republican, but and I'm not going to go into the choosing the lesser of the two evils argument or anything. But at the minimum, he stands on the pro-gun side, and we're looking at two main bills that are coming together for competition, and one is House Bill 194 and 195, and the other is House Bill 164. And 164 is constitutional carry, and 195 is an amendment to the concealed carry, which would mean that you could have open carry as long as you have a license. And I'm really not a fan of that. I'm more of a fan of the constitutional carry, like in Arizona.
right, yeah, it is your inherent right to carry.
Right, and I'm starting to see, even from people who are pro-gun and very much pro-firearms rights, there's a lot of the arguments, it's gonna be the Wild West, and I don't believe that's gonna happen. I've heard that argument many, many times, and it never comes to fruition.
Right. Well,
and anything that even remotely resembles supporting that argument happens within the first 3 weeks.
Yeah. Well, have you seen any gun buybacks lately?
No, I have not. But I'll tell you what. Here's a little funny part about the Washington State Gun Registration Act that they passed. It pretty much eliminates private gun buybacks.
Really?
Right, because everything now has to be transferred through an FFL. And there's not many FFL holders within Mother's Demand Action or Bloomberg Society.
No, certainly not. And if you remember, the Tucson Police Department was performing these gun buybacks, and the Pima County Sheriff was tasked to collect all those from the city because the city was going to destroy them. And the state of Arizona has a statute that says that guns seized or collected by the local police jurisdictions must put those firearms back up for auction. So that's
don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it either. But what I have a problem with is the department trying to skirt that that statute and take those guns off the street.
The department trying to create policy.
Right. That's not their job.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, well, we see that all over. I mean, we've seen that, cops in the middle of nowhere getting, stuff that you had in Iraq and saying it's because they're in the middle of a war zone. It's like, you're in Nebraska, buddy.
Oh, yeah, certainly. And that's the thing. You have a certain element that pushes these gun buybacks, and look at the type of people that show up to it. It's the widowers, it's not even widowers, it's the widows, it's the people who say they're afraid that they can't take care of this firearm, or they can't do this or can't do that. And what it comes down to,
they're scared that it's going to go off in the closet.
Well,
it's people who got no education on this side.
Right, and that's what it is. People who buy into the mystique and they buy into the hype, and they're easily swayed. We would call them sheep where I come from, and these are the people who believe the narrative that's out there about guns just go off and guns leave your safe in the middle of the night to find a gun-free zone and commit atrocities. It's those kind of individuals that you've got a lot of people out there pushing these ideas, and for the sheer fact that people have no idea what their gun value is in order to go ahead and get the $50 Walmart gift card just to turn something in, it's like, okay, You guys deserve to go ahead and lose that firearm because you're an idiot.
I kind of agree at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen the gun buybacks to where they've made spectacles out of them.
Certainly,
You
and
know,
I
the
think
one that
that's
really
that's
the one in
main
Los
thing.
Angeles where they turned in an empty law rocket.
Yeah, the M202 flash that was in there as well. If
You
you
know,
remember,
I mean,
you remember the movie. I believe it was. Oh gosh, it was an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. I think it was Commando with Sully. You remember that one?
oh yeah, you're talking about that 4-barrel rocket launcher.
The 4-barrel
thing he had?
rocket launcher. That's called an M202. And I believe in that
That's
gun.
not for sale at Walmart.
No, it's not. And if you remember, that was in that movie, and I believe that in that Los Angeles buyback there was one sitting on the counter, and they line these up like they're confiscated in a drug bust. You know, it's like these are weapons that are voluntarily turned in.
This is, yeah. I mean, it's even with the crap about going to Mexico, all the guns going to Mexico. Well, I've seen like the videos of what they're getting in Mexico, and honestly, those are 50 caliber like Brownings.
Yeah,
those are hand grenades. Those are full automatic AKs. Those are full select fire M16s and AR-15s. Those aren't coming from Bud's guns or anything like that.
yeah. Well, bringing up the Tucson gun buyback, I just kind of did a search, and the first thing that comes up is the photos from the Arizona Daily Star, and every single one of the officers. First off, they're only showing pictures of women officers holding the guns with some kind of half disapproving look on their face, and it's crazy to me that when they do start showing male officers, it shows the male officers like banding the weapons because nobody else knows how to do that. It's like, come on, you guys are.
But these
idiots.
are the people that say that the AK-47 stands for automatic killer and the 47 bullets a second it spews.
Right. Well, at least there is a photo of a woman who is doing her own buyback program. She set up a table about 50 feet away from the cops, and she says, "Cash for your firearms."
Double your money.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, because I mean, really, it's some of those places it's $50 for a rifle and like $75 for a handgun or something like that.
Right.
And it's a scary assault rifle, which in a gun buyback definition, a Marlin 795 with a 10-round magazine is probably an assault rifle. Look at that. That's got a protruding banana clip.
Well, yeah, and funny because the photos that are here on the website that I'm looking at shows a picture. Now, if anybody's out there and listening has any idea about the majority of the population in Tucson, they are mostly folks that are later on in life, and the women in hair driving Cadillacs with Michigan or Minnesota plates. We call those guys snowbirds.
With the left turn signal on in the right lane.
Well, Michael, they're just signaling coming of Christ, right?
he's gonna make a left eventually.
They will not do NASCAR runs. they're gonna go like Dale Earnhardt and turn.
Dude, I'll totally drive behind a bus before I drive behind somebody with a blue license plate and a beige Buick.
Oh yeah. So anyhow, I'm looking at this photo, and it sums up the whole conversation because there's two officers. They're probably 5'8", 5'6". One of them's 2 inches shorter than the other one. It looks like there's a larger American who is well into his 60s or 70s, and he just dwarfs these two police officers in size. Everybody behind him has white hair, and not a single one of them is under the age of 50. So this goes to the point that I made, that it seems like every single one of these folks that participate in it are folks who are easily led into believing that their firearms are not safe in their homes. But yet, to top it all off, behind that group of people is another group of people with a large sign that says, "I will pay you double for your guns."
Those are my kind of people.
Yeah, and this most recent buyback happened in January of 2013.
What the hell? I'll give you bitcoins.
Yeah,
I don't know exactly what those are, and they sound kind of fake to me, but I'll give them to you.
And the whole thing is that the Tucson Police Department was given $50 Safeway gift cards. I was like, you know what, you guys are morons. Yeah, you guys are morons.
That had to be. They must have done that on just like somewhere in South Tucson.
No, it's the Midtown station. Anybody like police department in Tucson? Quite a few.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Armory Park. That's Armory Park. Yeah.
Yep. So
they'd probably got more gift cards to like Liquor Barrel. They'd have got all.
Either that or to Los Betos. Tell you what, it's amazing to me, and that's a funny. Here in the area.
I'd almost.
I was going to say, here in the area where I'm at, I haven't heard anything about firearms buybacks by the police department or the county police, because we have a county police and we have a city police. There's also a university police, so there's like 4 jurisdictions. I think there's also a sheriff in my locale. And hear anything about gun buybacks. It just, it's a really private ownership here. It real limited on those kind. I think I lost Michael.
No, I got you right.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, what I was saying is that you talked a little bit about maybe getting a chance.
Actually, I went to 2 gun shows over the week. It was quite interesting. I got you.
You do. I was just in the middle of like that.
Come in.
Yeah, I'm in. You hear me?
All right, I got you now.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a chance to go about 90 miles from my house, and honestly, the one that was close to my house had a grand total of about 14 guns at it.
That's not. That's what we would call opening somebody's safe.
Yeah, it wasn't impressive. There was only 3 tables of guns. There was a question of knives. There was a lot of ammo and about a half hour there just because we didn't want to feel like we got gypped on the $5.
Right, yeah.
To get it.
What was your
point? Thank God there was no parking.
I was going to say. You almost had to stay for the whole day.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've walked gun shows with like 4 different weapons before, and if I'd have done that at this show, I would have had a sizable percentage of the availability.
Right.
So that's kind of poor, and so I don't know if that's going to be the death knell for shows at that location, because honestly, the vendors were guys from out of town, and that cost some bucks to come in. You got to get a hotel room, you got to spend the gas to get there, you got to eat out at not at home. You can run into $250 worth of expenses in a hurry, and then that's even before you get your table.
Right. Well, and that's one of those things where I think that if you're going to go out there and make that 90-mile trek, you want to go ahead and make sure that you're going to get your money out of it.
Well, we ended up doing my buddy and I went and did the show on Sunday, which was the one that was further away. And now that one is usually a pretty good show. It was a little bit smaller this time, and I wasn't really impressed with it. There were very few private sales. I would say maybe only 8 private sale tables. And then once again, there was a lot of plastic, and did not see a lot of AR-15s this time. I did see quite a few, I would say, Romanian and Serbian AKs.
Right.
Prices for the new guns were significantly less than the prices for the private tables. Significantly less.
Right.
22 long rifle was 10 cents around at both shows.
Okay. Now, are you finding that that's kind of in line with what the regular going rate is, or people
Absolutely not.
Yeah, people trying to make a little bit of money on that.
They're trying to make some money on it. It is back in stock at the big box, in spurts here. Recently, one of ours had CCI Stingers. They were allowing you to get 5 boxes, and they were $5.99, and that's pretty much a regular price.
Yeah.
So, if it's available for that, I am not going to pay $20 for it at the show.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to pay 10 cents a round for Golden Bullet either.
Right.
So,
and that's one of the things I don't think I've ever really bought at a show is I've never bought ammo because I can always get it online, have it delivered right to my house. I don't have to deal with that 70-year-old prick who fucking lives at Walmart and, just turns around and tries to sell the same thing.
Yeah, he's eating it up. He's got nothing else to do, so he can go and hit 3 or 4 different places.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, those guys are going to end up sitting on it because the ammo is coming back. And I mean, Dan and I discussed this, some time back that, there's 70 million gun owners in the United States, and it's a fair guess that half of them own a 22, at least one 22, and of those people, so that's 35 million people, and you're looking at every one of those people wanting a brick of 500. Well, that's like 7 billion rounds.
Right.
That's just satisfy that. And dude, I don't know nobody who's just got just one brick of 500. I mean, that's like what you just take out just for like, you're going to your buddy's house.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is I think people are going to come to grips with whatever they've got in their private stash, and they're going to determine if they need more or if they need to start shooting some off to get some value out of what they put into it. But I think that for the bulk of it, those guys who hit every Walmart in town, some towns have 5-6 Walmarts. I've been in one town where I can drive 20 minutes and hit 4 of them. And those guys that do that round, Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. and then they hit the big box stores and they're good for the week. They can make a living off of that.
Well, those guys' times are done.
Yeah,
those times are over, and it was quite evident at the show. And the guys trying to gouge the AR-15s for $900.
Oh yeah, those days are over.
Right. A Glock used is just about $50 less than a new one.
Yeah, I was gonna say mostly I've seen Glock almost any model Glock holding steady right about 500 if it's used.
Right. Yeah. Here it's about 450 to 500 if it's used. Some of those private sale tables, they had one sitting there and it was $700. And
it probably sat
I think those guys are a little bit sketchy. Some of those guys. And
the market will determine whether or not that kind of stuff moves or not. And I think I think people are getting hip to the game. We were talking about the ARs not being anywhere close to $900 like they were, kind of during the ban hype. We were talking before the show about the Black Friday deals getting ready to start coming out here after Thanksgiving. We saw the M&P Smith & Wesson AR-15 platform, $649 out the door.
Well, and that's for you're buying a name when you buy the Smith,
right?
Because there's no difference between the Smith and Palmetto State's kit not kit but fully assembled rifle for $449.
Right.
There's absolutely no difference between them except for the name,
right?
And however Smith pretties theirs up.
Right. And I think that also, you're going to take a look now, just like you said with Palmetto State, and there's a couple other sites out there that'll allow you to do it, you're going to be able to get a good functioning AR platform right at about $500, if not a little bit less right now. You know, you can get a put together upper and a put together lower. You know, buy them separately, put them together yourself. You know, which is basically just, you know, inserting the takedown pins and calling it good. That right about $500.
Yeah. You can get the assembled kit right now. I think they're probably going to be busting out those Sporticals right before Christmas for probably about $400.
Yeah.
You know, that's the plinker. I think it's a 223, and it does not have forward assist, and it's not mil spec. It's commercial parts, and it's built for people who want to dress them up and make them look like, you know, desert Afghan warrior stuff. So they can go out and shoot, you know, rocks at the ground on the weekend.
Yeah, and even going, you know, one step beyond that is, you know, folks can go ahead and start getting some of those individual parts that were in short supply a while back. I mean, there's just stripped lowers right now. You can get them right at $50. So, you know, add $27 to your FFL fee, you know, for that much money, $60-$70, you've got the beginnings of another AR.
Right. Something I have noticed in the AR marketplace that's not widely available are the 9mm uppers or the lowers that are specific to the 9mm. I mean, the lower itself is the same. It just uses a different hammer and it uses a different trigger.
Right.
And I've not seen like a resurgence in those.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the things I'm starting to see a couple of the different gun sites out there pushing the different calibers in the AR platform. I'm starting to see a lot of 300 blackout. Starting to see a lot of AR-10s being pushed, and I have seen a couple 9mm conversions, you know, on Palmetto State and a couple others. So it's not just about the 5.56 or 223 Remington now.
I'll tell you what, there was a lot of AR-10 receivers,
right?
Just empty receivers at the show, and they were asking $129 for them.
Yeah, and that's a little bit higher than what you can get them online, obviously. But then again, you know, people that are selling them there, they ain't going to try and lose any money. They're going to be trying to.
No, absolutely not. No, they got to recoup that. They got to recoup that buffet.
Right, and they're not also buying those in bulk from a manufacturer, so they're not getting any kind of volume discount that they can go ahead and turn around and you know, pass on down in terms of getting somebody to buy from them. So, you know, if you're only bringing one or two uppers to that table, you got to get every penny you can get out of them. Right,
and I did see that. Now, something I did also notice at this show is usually there's a couple guys there who have tables that have nothing but AR-15 accessories. So yeah, every doodad possibly bolt onto that AR-15.
Yeah, and I was going to say that's kind of becoming the new niche market. You know, that's one of those things where guys specialize.
I think that market is played out, to be honest with you.
Well, it comes and it goes, and I think that you can only have so many milled metal parts that are, you know, cut with the laser cutter, and you know, so many different patterns in your quad rail. Yeah, it's a matter of what.
Well, and then the problem is how do you sell this operator system that's machined and has all these tolerances when NC Star makes something that is almost exactly the same in China and sells it for $64.
Exactly.
You can't sell yours for $300.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because, you know, I'm just kind of doing a once over on. I'm looking at the Brownells website, and they've got two pieces of AR parts, and it's a shock to me because you can literally get for $110 you can get a stripped upper and a stripped lower. That's crazy to me because during the time of the ban, those parts were $100 and something bucks a piece.
Yeah, I think the market is going to suffer. You know, for the people who make their money in it, is going to suffer due to the change in the electorate. Now, that being said, it becomes good for the purchaser. But remember, we're one tragedy away from this all happening again.
Yeah, and don't let a tragedy go to waste.
And exactly, and so let's do our part to avoid any true tragedies. We can't avoid the manufactured tragedies, but let's go over the rules against safety real quick.
All right, go ahead, lay it on us.
All right. Well, the first rule against safety is every firearm is loaded until you visually and physically inspect to make sure that it is not loaded. So remove the magazine, pop open the slide, crack back the bolt, open up the breech, flip the cylinder out, make sure it's empty. Rule number 2 is keep the muzzle pointed in the safe direction at all times. Don't point at anything you don't intend to destroy. Rule number 3, know what your target is and know what's beyond your target. Don't overshoot it and have a serious problem. And most important rule is keep the booger hook off the bang switch. I was at the gun show this weekend, and man, I'll tell you what, I lost count after about 25.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and I mean it was just everywhere. It wasn't as prevalent as at the show, the first show, just because there weren't that many firearms. But at the second show, yeah.
So,
yeah,
you know, I got to ask you, when you see these breaches of safety, do you say something to the it, or is it just not even worth the cause of the problem?
I take it different. If I got my own table, I'll say something, and especially if they're handling my firearm.
Right.
I won't necessarily do it if it's my buddy's firearm and he's making a deal, because I'm not going to step on my buddy's deal, you know.
Okay.
But if it's my firearm, I'll say something about it. As just somebody going, I'm not going to say anything. And yeah, maybe that's a problem on mine, but I'm not relishing the confrontation in a show like that. Because generally the guys who I see do it are, I don't want to call them punks, but yeah, they're kind of punks. They're young and they're kind of full of piss and vinegar, so to speak.
Well, and that's a problem, because those guys tend to have kids anyhow, and those kids are watching the way that they handle firearms, and they think that that's the right way of doing it.
They're the guys that end up having a sideways hat and pointing a gun with their finger at the trigger for their Facebook photo. That's all.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily, I don't have the oratory skills to address that in public right there.
Yeah, nor the patience.
Yeah, I really don't. I just don't have time, you know.
Yeah.
So let somebody else.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I think that when they have a lot of those undercover officers that are out there, you know, randomly attending these gun shows and trade shows, I have seen those guys go up and say something to somebody, and when somebody kind of cops them an attitude, they just flash the badge immediately, you know, and then all of a sudden the security for the event shows up quickly.
Yeah, the shows I've been to haven't really had. I mean, I'm sure that there's undercover at them. I've not seen anybody do anything, but I will say that one of the shows that I went to, the guy who was running it, it was a smaller show. I mean, we had a good number of tables, but it was in a smaller venue. He was pretty hardcore about safety, and he went by and checked tables 3 or 4 times each day during the show, make sure everything was zip tied, and you know, nobody had opened up a box of ammunition and, you know, had 1 or 2 of them sitting out or anything like that, unless it was taped to the box or something like that. It had to be immobilized. You couldn't rapidly, you know, put it right in.
Right.
And I mean, there will be people who have display ammunition, and usually he asks them to be inert, but you know, whatever.
Yeah. Do you see a lot of the chamber flags when folks have the ARs on the table? Do you see them with those bright yellow or orange chamber flags to show that there's nothing in the chamber?
Not usually. I'll see those on brand new ones. Nobody's got that on a used table unless it's a, you know, new in the box one, because everything is zip tied
Right.
here.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
And
that's one of those things that I'm starting to see being offered on some of these parts sites, and I'm like, what idiot is going to buy a chamber flag for his own house? You you should know that there's nothing in there.
It's another item that is $3, and honestly, follow the rules of gun safety. That's the first one. Check it.
Yeah.
Honestly, check it. That's the way to do it.
And it's funny to me because you see too many
that
things.
Much of a problem. Chamber flag, put that damn thing in a safe.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. You see too many people talk about, oh, well, my firearm was stolen from my home. And I'm not for mandating any kind of, specific way you got to store your firearm. I mean, I think that there's a smart way to do it, and I think that there are less than smart ways to do it. And whatever way you feel comfortable, keeping your firearm safe, you're going to do on your own. But I know for me, it's worth it to me to put that extra layer of deterrent between a prospective thief and my property, that I'm going to go ahead and put the ones that aren't necessarily going to be used every day inside, and put that extra layer between me and him.
I can't stress safety enough, Nick. It breaks my heart just to see that we could lose it all over just idiotic actions. And there's no other way to state it.
And speaking of, have you heard of any latest firearm incidents in the news?
I did hear of a home invasion in South Florida that was thwarted. Believe it was just north of Miami. A home invasion happened, and the homeowner put a stop to it promptly.
Oh, that's the good kind of news.
That's exactly, and you know what? I'm not going to dignify any of the other stuff, because it throws ammo to the forces that I don't want to deal with.
Well, the funny thing is that since we've had the election in the last couple of weeks, I've noticed that the number of gun violence stories, especially relating to the cities of Chicago and DC, has dropped and vanished from the radar.
Maybe they're figuring out that fear tactic didn't work.
Well, I mean, something had to, because one of the headlines today was telling folks in Ferguson, Missouri, that if they don't own a firearm, they need to go get one quickly. So,
I think if you live in Missouri, that should be on your driver's license.
Yeah, but then you'd be registered.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But I mean, it should be just like a nice little warning, like, that's a bad scene waiting to happen. And I mean, we could discuss it, but it looks like this is going to be a manufactured crisis, and they're going to take every advantage of it. So if you're in that area, good luck to you, and
stay home and pull the trigger.
I hope you got a shotgun and aim for the center of mass, and try to use an appropriate load. I hope you got some buckshot.
Yeah, so get some double aught out there.
That's right. About $6, $7, $5, between $5 and $7 for a box of 5.
Yeah,
it works.
Yeah. Nine pellet Winchester Super X, $6 at Walmart.
That's right. 2 3/4 inch shell will give you 9 pellets of basically 32 caliber bullets.
Yeah.
So,
I'm checking the chat room, and yeah, I did hear about the folks in Buffalo, the cops at least putting it out there. I didn't necessarily see that they've gone and conducted any confiscations of licensed firearms owners. When those folks die, the word was that they're going to go and do confiscations of any firearms that weren't transferred to relatives. I think that was put out there, and I think it was a test. I think they floated it just to see what the initial reaction would be.
I think that would not end well.
No, I can't say that it would. And Lord forbid that something happened to me. but I'm pretty secure in the fact that my family would not relinquish any of my firearms to anyone.
Well, you've done well. You've trained them well. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just disgusting. I mean, that's picking on people in their time of need, basically.
Well, yeah. I mean, those folks are
by
already,
the way, don't violate the law.
yeah, those folks are already in a less than pleasant place in their lives, and you got Mario Cuomo or Andrew Cuomo, or whoever it is, one of those Cuomo guys in New York. I'm not a New York guy, so I don't care about those guys.
No, well, you could name any of them from New York, and you're really picking out the finest list right there. I mean,
Yeah.
Schumer, Jesus H. Christ.
So the way I look at it is, between the folks in California, that if you've ever been accused of having mental instability, the California Highway Patrol has a department that will go out there and confiscate your firearms. And I feel bad for the idiot who tries to do that in my house. That's probably the day that he should have not reported to work.
This is becoming a problem. I think we're being pushed into something ugly. So yeah, as the song says, buy a gun, buy yourself some ammo, get familiar with it, buy what works for you. We've got our own personal taste. What I like doesn't necessarily translate to what Nick likes. What you like may not translate to what I like. But get out there and get something, get familiar with it, and they'll carry it.
Yep. Don't just exercise your right for the sake of doing it. Invest a little bit in it, and I think that you'll see the results come back tenfold to you. Especially if you can transfer on that ability to teach somebody how to enjoy the shooting sports, how to enjoy firearms, whether it's a hobby, whether it's a profession. Take the time to become familiar with your firearm, and heck, learn about one that you don't have. Just get yourself a knowledge base to where you can be that go-to type of person when somebody has questions.
I like that. I like the investigating something new. I'll tell you what, we'll talk about something that neither of us have ever played with next week. Sounds good.
Well, Michael, we're getting close to the end. I want to say thanks to Jules and thanks to our listeners out there at ucy.tv. We don't get a lot of interaction with them, but I like checking in on the chat room. Seems that we're getting some more listeners every week, so I appreciate that. Want to make sure that we're getting some topics out there that are good for the listening public and something that they're interested in.
Well, Nick, I want to thank you for your time. I really enjoyed talking to you, man. I know life is busy and well, we got to get together. We got to go out and pull trigger a couple times together sometime soon.
I think so, and hopefully I'll have that 30-30 by the time we get ready to do it.
That's nice. Well, let's make some trades when we'll have to work some stuff out.
Yeah,
I think it'd be kind of fun to make some trades.
I think so too. So I think we're going to be okay. Who do you want to say thanks to, Michael?
I like to give thanks to Jules, and just want to give thanks to everybody who's listening to UCY. If you're the reason we're here, so thanks a lot. I mean, we're just out here having fun. Thanks for enjoying our conversation. This is just a great time for me to yap with my brother. And Nick, I want to say thanks to you for being here. So,
not a problem. Thanks for having me. And like I said, get out there, buy some ammo, buy a firearm. You got a chance. Christmas is coming up. Make sure that you get a chance, go out there and enjoy some deer hunting. I know rifle season has started for a lot of people, and go ahead, get you that deer for the freezer. Go ahead, get you your fall turkey, and get you something to eat.
I like the song says, buy a gun. I tell you what, buy some ammo and put that under the tree. Nothing makes a kid smile like a bucket of bullets.
All right, Michael, take care.
All right. 1,400 rounds of joy, people. Take it easy, folks.